Welcome to the China Reel. Today we're rewinding to 2009 to unpack Lurk, a Chinese spy drama that redefined the genre. This series didn't just dominate prime time with an 8.01% rating, it maintains God-tier status with a 9.4 out of 10 score on Douban, China's answer to IMDb. Smash that subscribe button as we dive into its labyrinth of political schemes and workplace warfare that puts House of Cards to shame. The story unfolds in March 1945. As Japan's war of aggression against China neared its end. But the fragile alliance between the ruling Kuomintang and communists is crumbling. Chiang Kai-shek sought to monopolize the fruits of victory in the war of resistance, vigorously suppressing the CCP's growth, particularly its rising international influence. When foreign journalists entered Yan'an, they discovered that the bandits described by the Chinese Communist Party and the Kuomintang were not the same. Against this backdrop, the eminent San Francisco Conference marked a pivotal moment in the establishment of the United Nations. At this historic event, CCP Representative Dong Biwu became the first assigned on behalf of China, cementing the party's role as the representative of the nation. Chongqing 1945. On the eve of the San Francisco Conference, in a dimly lit attic, Yu Zecheng, a spy for the KMT's Military Statistics Bureau, slouches in his chair, headphones clamped over his ears. Through the wiretap, heated voices erupt. A group of intellectuals led by Lin Weifu fiercely condemned nationalist governments' corruption. The name Zhou Enlai pierces through repeatedly. He sent 17 telegrams to us, Ambassador Hurley, to secure our seat at the conference. At hidden recorder glints in the chandelier above the debaters. Unnoticed, suddenly, gunshots explode outside. Both the listeners and the monitor rushed to the window, witnessing civilians fleeing, a chaotic yet routine scene. Yu calmly returns to his desk. Then knocking interrupts. His colleague, Zhang Mingye, arrives for shift change. Yu, who had been idling moments earlier, snaps to full alert. He draws his gun toward the door. Zhong staggers in, pale, blood soaking his back from a gunshot wound. Beyond saving, with his last strength, the dutiful colleague gasps. Li Haifeng, defecting. The news quickly reaches Dai Li. As the de facto leader of the Military Statistics Bureau, Dai Li is a deeply controversial figure. Known as Chiang Kai-shek's 盖世太保, he has orchestrated the assassinations of numerous traitors, Japanese operatives, and political rivals within the KMT. Yet, within the Bureau, he plays the role of a patriarch, even caring for the families of agents who die in a line of duty. Dai Li's secretary, Mao Renfeng, reports on Li Haifeng's movements. Upon learning of Li's defection to the Japanese, Dai Li stalks that fool. Mao mentions Ji'exiang, a hidden courtyard in Nanjing where the early bureau, then the intelligence division of the Revival Society, operated. Li Haifeng joined during this period, proving his veteran status. The scene shifts as section chief Lu Zhongfeng explains the significance of Li Haifeng to Yu, the king. Li is the ace of the Bureau's communications division, known as the Codex, with full access to internal codes and classified documents. Equally renowned is Zhang Ying, the Bureau's only female general, who decrypted the Japanese plan to attack Pearl Harbor. Her intelligence, relayed to the U.S. by Chiang Kai-shek, was ignored, leading to catastrophic losses for the Pacific Fleet. Lu Zhongfang asks Yu Zecheng about his wiretap findings. Yu hesitates, then murmurs. Some of what they said made sense. This reveals his growing doubts and his trust in Li. Instead of reprimanding him, Li simply warns, those are dangerous people. Yu Zecheng reports Zhang Mingye's dying words to Dai Li. Initially dismissive of this low-level clerk, Dai's interest is piqued when he learns Yu trained at the King Pool Special Training Class. Dai's first spy training program, established in Shanghai in 1937. Yu has served the Bureau for 8 years and Yu Zecheng's cover identity is an engineer. After finishing his day's work, he packs a meal and rushes to meet his girlfriend, Zuo Lan, a teacher at Central Engineering School. Zuo is singing the Communist Youth League song and Yu, captivated by her radiant beauty and youthful energy, joined then. As well, it's the meal he prepared. He listens to Yu talk about her plans to buy a house and get married, her face glowing with happiness. Their bond is clearly strong. Yu's eyes are filled with affection as he drapes a scarf brought back from Moscow around her neck. Yu suggests they marry on the day of victory over Japan. However, Zuo's expression darkens with worry. Although Japan's defeat seems inevitable, she wonders if peace will truly come after the war. Yu runs his fingers to his hair, a gesture of reluctance to discuss the topic. From his wiretapping work, he knows better than anyone how tense the relationship between the KMT and CCP has become, yet he brushes it all, naively, believing that the two sides might reconcile through negotiation. Zuo's voice rises as she mentions Chiang Kai-shek's refusal to form a coalition government, startling Yu into urging her to lower her voice. "I'm not afraid of the Bureau, are just rats shooting from the shadows. Let's not talk about this anymore, okay?" Unaware of Yu's true identity, Zulu's words don't anger him. In fact, his earlier remarks to Lu Zongfan and his half-hearted approach to work reveal his growing disillusionment with the Bureau. His only hope now is to marry Zuo and live a simple, peaceful life, a humble yet beautiful dream. The surveillance mission targeting Lin Waifu resumes. Yu Zecheng is instructed to watch for a man named Mr. Meng. Once Meng arrives, Yu is to open the window as a signal for the arrest team. Yu idly records the conversation through his headphones, when suddenly, his girlfriend Zuo Lan's name is mentioned. Zuo Lan is introduced as a teacher at Central Engineering School, fluent in foreign languages and the translator of Jia Zhuer's article, My View on the Chinese Revolution. Shock denotes the time of Zuo's appearance. Just then, Mr. Meng arrives. Yu instinctively moves to open the window, but hesitates. Thinking of Zuo's safety, a mysterious phone call warns Lin Waifu and his group to evacuate. Zuo offers to stay and help, but is refused. Yu watches from the window until he sees Zuo leave safely, then returns to delete the portion of the recording that mentions her. Only after completing this does he open the window to signal the arrest team.
The arrest team storms into Lin Waifu's room, but Mr. Meng is long gone. Yu feigns confusion, while Lin invokes the name of Chen Bulai, the highly respected Secretary General of the KMT Central Committee, as his ally. El Zongfang scoffs and ignores him. During the room search, Yu notices the scarf he gifted Zuo left on a chair. He discreetly pockets it, but El Zongfang sees everything.
Back at the Bureau, Li shifts the blame, claiming he signaled promptly and mentioning the mysterious call to cover for L, calming Mao Renfeng's anger. L pulls Yu aside, warning him to end his relationship with Zuo and hinting at suspicions of his communist sympathies. Yu bluntly declares his intention to marry Zuo, showing that she means more to him than his loyalty to the KMTL. Brings up the fake marital status on Yu's file, which he himself filled out, hinting at the Bureau's practice of using family as leverage. Yu dismisses it, thinking it was just a formality. Ignoring the warning, Yu continues to meet Zuo. Her translated article is published in the newspaper, and you can see her joy. He suddenly brings up the scarf, causing Zuo to avert her eyes guiltily. Unable to press her, Yu changes the subject, warning her to use a pseudonym for future translations to avoid danger. As soon as Yu Zecheng returns home, he finds his superior, El Zongfeng, waiting for him. El informs Yu that he will be sent on a mission outside Chongqing, but details like the location and timing are kept vagingly, that he must leave early the next morning. Worried about his girlfriend Zuo Lan, Yu wants to at least say goodbye to her, but El sternly warns him, pointing out Zuo's suspected communist ties and hinting that this mission might be a way to keep you out of trouble. Yu Zecheng, his heart filled with thoughts of Zuo Lan, writes her a letter, claiming he is going on a business trip to Kunming. In the letter, he admits he knows about her close ties to the communists and urges her to cherish her life. Victory in the war is near, and everyone who survives has the right to enjoy happiness. But first, you must cherish your life. I swear to you, I will value my life and never put myself in danger. I beg you to wait for me with your beautiful life. Once on the train, Elle finally reveals the mission. Yu is to go to Nanjing and assassinate the traitor, Li Haifeng. Dai Li chose you because Li, having been in the bureau for years, knows too many people. Only someone like you, who doesn't know Li, can ensure the mission's success. Elle pulls out a copy of February, a novel depicting the struggles of intellectuals during the revolution, and reminds you that if he hadn't found an hidden use letter, Zuo might already be under surveillance. Yu feels a mix of anger and embarrassment, like a teenager caught by a parent, but Elle's next words calm him. Elle reveals he already knew about Zuo's presence at Lin Waifu's gathering and had pieced together Yu's actions. Elle Zongfeng outlines the mission details. Yu Zecheng's cover identity is Lao Wench, codenamed Crab, posing as a communications officer planted by Wang Jingwei in the 2nd Department of the Military Orders Bureau. Due to a compromised identity, Yu is transferred to the 2nd Department in Nanjing to handle intelligence work. At the time, Zhou Fohai, who had switched sides to support Chiang Kai-shek, was secretly aiding the KMT through his Serve the Central Government campaign. As a result, Zhou would arrange for Yu to join the Communications Division of the Political Security Bureau, where he could get close to Li Haifeng, the division chief, and track his movements. Wang Jingwei was a significant political figure in modern Chinese history. In his early years, he was a close ally of Sun Yat-sen and participated in revolutionary activities to overthrow the Qing dynasty. However, during the Second Sino-Japanese War, Wang collaborated with Japan and established the reorganized National Government of China in Nanjing in 1940, commonly known as the Nanjing Puppet Government. Before the mission begins, Elle Zongfeng hands Yu Zecheng a letter and his own watch, saying, "If anything happens to me, take this watch to the Shangqi Guild and find Boss Tai." The words feel like a will, unsettling Yu, though he brushes it off as part of the mission. The banquet hall buzzed with unspoken dangers. At the head table sat Mr. Zhou, a high-ranking official in the collaborationist regime, who publicly pledged loyalty to the puppet government while secretly funneling intelligence to Chongqing. Across from Yu Zecheng sat Wan Lilang, head of the regime's communications bureau. To his left was the target Li Haifeng codebreaker, and beside him, a Japanese officer named Major Sato. While Li remained silent, Director Wan launched the first attack. "Who arranged your promotion to the Military Intelligence Office?" Yu replied calmly. "During my training at the Central Cadre Academy, I aligned with Chang's faction. His recommendation secured my position." This answer cleverly tied his fake identity Lao Wenqi to the regime's leadership, leaving one no room to probe further. The Japanese officer followed up. "Where's the radio equipment assigned to you?" Yu shrugged. "Seized by resistance forces during the Wuhan retreat, now at the bottom of the Yangtze River." His airtight explanation left no loopholes. At once prompting, Li cut to the chase. "Do you know the locations of Nanjing's secret communication stations?" Yu feigned sincerity. "2 locations, but surely abandoned after recent raids." Li pressed on. "How was your cover blown?" Yu sighed. "A traitor in a Japanese-linked spy cell exposed me. But the late leader once advised me to seek Mr. Zhou's help in crises. By invoking Zhou's authority, you turned the tables. Passing these tests, you earned tentative trust and joined the Communications Bureau." His office faced Li's, a deliberate setup for surveillance, clocking Li's guarded routines, armored cars, bodyguards. You confirmed the target's paranoia. You reported Li's family in Nanjing to his handler, Lu Zhongfang. They established a coded meet signal. Follow the stock exchange rules. Meet at market close. You. Zecheng arrives at the meeting point, only to hear gunfire. A man jumps from the second floor, breaks his leg, and is killed by a hat-wearing assailant. As Yu approaches, he is stunned to discover the dead man is L Zongfang, his mentor and longtime colleague. Unable to show emotion, Yu quickly leaves the scene. He recalls L's words before the mission, which now sound like a final farewell, and wonders if L had foreseen his own death. Back at the office, Li Haifeng is furious, and you can only watch cautiously. Yu is called upstairs to record an interrogation, and is shocked to find the prisoner is the man who killed L. The assassin is also a military statistics bureau agent. Yu learns that the bureau has a secret base in Nanjing training spies for missions to Yan'an. Of the 9 recently sent, 8 were captured by the communists, prompting an internal investigation that led to this assassin. Yu is further stunned to learn that L was actually a communist agent. Li Haifeng, however, believed L was there to assassinate him and had set a trap at the meeting point. Despite believing the assassin's story, Li tortures him relentlessly, venting his rage. Witnessing the assassin's suffering fills you with fear. Ella's death leaves you a dead chess piece, with only Dai Li possibly knowing his codename, Z. After a night of contemplation, Yu considers fleeing Nanjing to marry Zuo Lan and live a peaceful life. Before leaving, Yu Zecheng visits the room where L Zongfang once stayed. Learning that the landlord hasn't revealed any information, Yu sits down to examine L's belongings. Inside a suitcase, he finds clothes and a group photo featuring L, himself, and 3 other men, one of whom is circled in red on the back. Yu doesn't check the back of the photo but instead focuses on the gun L left behind, his mind filled with inner conflict. Ultimately, he resolves to stay undercover. Whether L was a communist or not, Yu believes he must persevere for the sake of the anti-Japanese cause. This determination stems from his innate sense of duty as a Chinese patriot, independent of the Bureau's orders. Yu selects an ambush location and prepares poison bullets to ensure a fatal shot. Meanwhile, the director uses close-up shots to show Li Haifeng bidding a tender farewell to his family, foreshadowing his impending death. Roadblocks trap Li's convoy, and his driver and bodyguards are killed. Realizing his fate, Li calmly puts on his hat, discards his gun, and steps out of the car. Yu, dressed in a white shirt and suspenders, confronts Li with a brief exchange.
就你一个人，你就是谢。重庆的，还是延安的？
抗日的。
迟早的。
After confirming Li's death, Yu fires additional shots to ensure the driver and bodyguards are dead. He quickly changes into ordinary clothes, blending in as a regular office worker. As he drives back, he sees reporters swarming Wan Lelong news of Li's death has already spread. Will Yu make it back to Chongqing safely? Will his role in the assassination be exposed? The answers remain unknown. Hit subscribe to follow Yu Zecheng's double life. This is the China Reel. We'll see you next episode.